Testing, testing, testing. It is officially that time of year. We've reached this like 75% mark of our school year, and it's time to start preparing our students for test prep. And I know what you're thinking, Caroline, you are fun. Test prep, you are not. But don't worry, I have 4 ideas for you today to get test prep really working in your classroom. And did I mention they're gonna have a good time while they do these activities? Let's get those learners working hard and prepping for those end of year tests. My first idea for you today is one that's hugely popular out in the world and in the world of education, and we are talking about escape rooms. There's a reason why they are everywhere. It's because they are fun, they are challenging, and students really end up doing a lot of work through the process of breaking open the safe, escaping the classroom, or cracking the code. An escape room I have for you today is really aimed for my 3rd grade teachers out there, and it is so fun. It's perfectly themed for this time of year. It's a baseball escape room. There are 2 different versions. We have a reading version and a math version, and they are fun. Remember, with an escape room, there are opportunities for you to do this for any content in your classroom. I have quite a few escape rooms that I run in my room throughout the year, and people always ask, well, how do you do it? Does it take a long time? It has so many moving parts. Your poor laminator is probably crying by the end of the process. And all I remind people of when I'm creating an escape room or working an escape room in my classroom, you can use resources you already have. Just have your students collect something at the completion of each station. Whether it's going to be a letter that's going to add up to spell out a word when they've completed all the stations. Maybe they get a number at the end of each station. Don't be intimidated by escape rooms. They are such a great activity, and they're even better during test prep because you can cover a lot of content in one exciting adventure in your classroom. My next suggestion to up that fun with test prep in your classroom this year is to roll out the games. If I can do it with a game, you know I'm going to do it with a game. There are so many opportunities to use games in your classroom during test prep. Pull out board games and task cards. They answer the task card, they move their piece on the board game. Let everybody stay at each station for 15 minutes, ring the bell, you roll to the next board game, you roll to a new set of task cards. I also have some really fun giant games that are great to pull out during this time of year. I save them for the end of the year, so it really does feel like a special time. I have giant bowling, which is really fun, and I have jumbo dice that I love to pull out too. So with giant bowling, I'll have questions up on the board. If you get it right, you get a chance to bowl and get a strike to earn points for your team. As many opportunities to get your students moving while reviewing is the way to go. 4 corners is another fantastic option because it gets your kids out of their seats. With 4 corners, you label each corner A, B, C, and D. You display a multiple choice question, and students have to move to their corners to defend their answer choice. Great, it immediately shows you where students are at and what students are thinking. This is one that I do love with 3rd grade because they aren't still like everyone's in corner A, I have to go to corner A too. Students will really go to the answer that they think would make the most sense for the question you've displayed, and then you can give them the opportunity to explain their answer choice, or they can write about it once they get to that corner. Another game option for review, we are deep in the South here, which means we love our cornhole. Bring in your cornhole boards. Other people refer to this as beanbag toss. Bring those boards in, set them up in your classroom. If you get the answer right, you get the opportunity to throw, or you have 4 different boards set up. Each board represents an answer choice. So you make your choice, you toss your beanbag to represent your answer. We're moving, we're having fun, the energy is high, and we don't realize that we are reviewing for our end of year test. Up next, we're talking about the text-dependent analysis, or as we refer to it, the TDA. Text-dependent analysis is oftentimes a huge portion of testing, no matter where you're teaching at. Students are expected to generate a text-dependent analysis. They read a passage, they respond to a question in writing. This is incredibly challenging for students, and I think it's really important that we do have clear, explicit instruction around the idea behind a TDA. Now is the time of year to do that instruction. You've taught all of your modes of writing. Your students have really built their skills both as readers and writers. So the TDA is really a culmination of both subject areas. They have to be able to read the passage, analyze the passage, and dig into the question. But then they also have to successfully communicate their thoughts in writing. Working a TDA this time of year with your students does not have to be terrible. I promise. Pick an engaging passage. Pick something that students are really interested in. Maybe bring in a science unit or a social studies unit you've covered this year and pick a great nonfiction passage around those concepts. For fiction, pick something that your students will be able to relate to. That way they're already ready, excited, and interested in what they're going to have to write about. Use these engaging texts while you're teaching your students how to write a text-dependent analysis. We do have a text-dependent analysis unit. This is what I use in my classroom every year to introduce this concept to students. The passages are engaging, it's clear, it's concise, and I like that it really breaks the instruction up into bite-sized pieces. We know this is a challenging skill, and we know we're going to have to take it day by day with our kids as we introduce the text-dependent analysis. My fourth and final strategy for you today to get those test prep blues out the window and bring the fun into your classroom is one that you know and love. You can probably pull the word right out of my mouth. Centers. Get your students working in test prep centers. There are some amazing options out there. There are some great options in our TPT store. Get your students working in centers. They love the movement that comes with the center activity, and I love the fact that centers can extend over multiple days. There's nothing that says you have to complete an activity in one moment in one section of your day. Stretch it out. I'll give my students recording guides, and they'll be working through centers for a week to 2 weeks. I also like to support my learners by giving them partners. You know you have students who are great educators themselves, and it's wonderful practice for them to practice teaching what they know to their classmates. And you know you have students who need the support of a friend while they are working. Use those students well, use those centers well. I do want to remind you about a freebie we have right now, the Editing and Revising Writing Centers. It is free, and I love it when you sign up for the email, you then get all these other emails with all these other cool things involved. I signed up for the email to get this resource. I was so excited when the team started talking about it, and then the next day I had another email and I was like, oh, it's like they knew I needed things for test prep and I needed things for editing and revising. So please grab the link for these. It's in the cards, it's down in my description box, and get ready for those emails with great more ideas, more resources for you for test prep. These activities are great for writing test prep. I love the engagement that comes with the work. I love the diversity in the skills. This is 18 different centers, and there are 2 versions, an upper level and a lower level version. Each center focuses on really specific things that you need to see in that specific mode of writing. So the narrative writing centers are all about what a student would need to do to write a narrative text. Informational writing, same idea. Opinion writing, same idea. So instead of giving a huge wide range of review activities, this really hits the nail right on the head. It's quick, it's easy, you can print it in color or black and white. I may or may not have made my husband cut all of these out for me as I laminated them last weekend. These are great center activities that'll have those students working hard and reviewing all they know about being a great writer. As always, thank you guys for learning and growing with us here at Not So Wimpy Teacher. Grab this freebie for yourself and have a not so wimpy day.